What's up, everybody? Today we're talking BET Hip Hop Awards and Harvey Weinstein scandal, all that and more on Black Hollywood Lives this week.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Live this week.
Come on, Taja. Please stand up.
Please stand up. Please stand up.
Hey, hey, hey.
You want the Slim Shadys, it's just imitated. So want the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up.
What's up, everybody? We not standing up, we sitting down, but we standing up in spirit, all right? Welcome to Black Hollywood Live this week. I'm your host, Derrial, Christon. Today joining me is Courtney, Stewart, looking like Drive, like Ryan Gosling in Drive. You give me the Drive jacket right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a dope jacket.
Okay.
No, it's a dope jacket.
Hey.
I said Pink Ladies from Greece.
That's what I was like, am I a
okay.
dude? Like, what are you talking about the jacket? Like, I don't know
Okay.
what's going on. It's all
We
good
can go
though,
with
but
Pink
I
Ladies.
appreciate
We'll
it.
go with Pink
I was
Ladies.
in a warm today. I want it to be warm because it's cold in here.
It was a
It's a
little
little chilly.
It's
We also got
fine.
DJ Jesse J.
What's up?
And our very special guest today is Taja V. Simpson, you know her from Madea 2. Boo, that's coming out.
Yes,
Thank you for
Coming
having me,
out
guys.
very
I'm happy to
soon.
be here. Thank you,
Glad to
sir.
have you.
Welcome,
Thank you
welcome.
We got a lot of
Blessing us.
chocolate on
I
this side
know,
today.
right?
She brought the supermodel chocolate.
She
y'all.
did.
That's a different kind of chocolate.
Beautiful.
I like that.
That's right.
Thank you, Zal. You too.
So how's everything going? I know you're excited about the movie premiere coming out next week, and you know Halloween is here. So
Yes.
you got any fun things you're gonna be dressed up as during
Absolutely,
Halloween?
a superhero, of course.
Which one?
So I'm going to be Vixen one night, which is
Oh,
DC
hey,
Comics.
DC
yes.
Comics, yeah.
And then there's another one for Marvel. It's called Nubia.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Nubia, I don't know if you guys know, but Nubia is the black sister of Wonder Woman.
Really?
Yeah,
See, did I know that?
honey,
Learning some facts up in BHL today. I like
So
that.
let me tell you just a little bit of the story.
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman we know was made from clay,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So her mother went to the gods and had like lighter clay and darker clay, and both of them she was granted children. Well, one of the other gods came and stole Nubia one night as an infant, and she grew up in a completely different planet.
Yes.
Right? I love that she's like, yes, you know.
Girl, I love Nubia stories.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
And when Nubia found out there was another Wonder Woman, she was like, no, I'm the one true Wonder Woman. And so she went to Wonder Woman and said I wanted to have like a duel with her. And something in her wouldn't allow her to kill her,
Yep.
right? But they ended up finding out who she was, and then they came together, and then now they kind of rule the world together. Who run the world?
Girls.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, I'll be
See,
Vixen,
little
and
facts.
then I'll
Hey.
be Nubia.
I like that you got the
Love
history
it.
with the costume that
Yes,
you're wearing. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Versus
That's
just
so
putting on
dope.
something like it's
For sure.
Halloween. You
But
know?
I was really excited, and I was like, I did not know there was a black Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
different
I
my
did not
life
know
would have
that.
been as a young brown girl growing up, that there was a brown superhero that looked like me. But I'm sure we'll get into that.
Wait for
I
that
love that.
movie.
Now allow that
ready
to
for
be the
that
next
movie.
Wonder Woman sequel, and I'm here for that.
Yep.
Okay. Woo. All right, let's get into it though. So, speaking of girls, women who run the world, boys, the Boy Scouts of America
Yes.
is going to make an official announcement next year, but there is some talks that they are going to be allowing girls to actually join the ranks. They'll be able to reach the highest to Eagle Scout.
Yes.
Well, the Girl Scouts of America is like, skirt, hold up. How you just gonna let girls into this? Like, there's some question. Well, they're saying that they're questioning some sexual assault issues and whatnot, and they're kind of questioning the boys and girls. But I keep it saying. I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club. I used to work there, so that's why I keep doing it. They're kind of questioning the motive of Boy Scouts of America and why they're doing this. And I actually did too when I first heard this, because it would be different if there was no Girl Scouts of America.
Yes.
But there is, and I feel like it's something, it's like we're always trying to mend and gel things together, but sometimes, you know what I mean, let the girls be girls and let the boys be boys, and I don't know, this is something that's been around for so long that I question men joining them together. What is the real true purpose of that?
My only guess. Oh, so you go.
Oh, go ahead.
My only guess was, well, when I first read it, I thought it was just because there are more and more kids that are identifying as male, even if they were female, and they
Right.
don't necessarily want to be in the Girl Scouts of America. So at first I was like, well, maybe they're just trying to be inclusive in that way, so that if there is a, transgendered child that wants to be in the Boy Scouts, like they're open to that, as opposed to just girl. But then they said girls, period. So then I was confused. I was like, but isn't that what Girl Scouts is for?
Right,
Is that
that's-
necessary?
that's what I was
But you do
confused first.
learn different things in Boy Scouts, because I don't really remember. I was a Girl Scout for a brief period of time, and we had, when we earned our patches and stuff, we were sewing shit. Like, we were doing stuff like that. But then the boys were getting to go camping and getting
Yeah. We would go
lighting
make
fires
fires.
with sticks
Yeah,
and
that's what we
stuff.
did. Yeah,
So
that's all
I
I
mean,
remember.
that may have changed. Obviously, I am well past being a Girl Scout, so maybe nowadays it's a little bit more in line. So if it's not, then I kind of understand. If it's still like girls having to do the girly stuff,
Yeah.
and then the boys, like if a girl want to learn how to put some sticks together and live in the wilderness with her Swiss Army knife, like then she should be able to do that. But I would think aren't those organizations linked
Tied.
a little bit? So
So
can't
they
they just
are,
like
yeah.
work
Make the Girl
together
Scouts do
to
that.
like?
Not necessarily though, because I looked into this today, but all boys. You got me saying it, Jesus. All Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts aren't linked. They operate as separate completely
separate
different
organizations.
entities, right? So if it is an inclusion thing and for little girls who identify as little boys, then it's like great. But then of course they can't come out and be like only these kind of little girls.
Yeah,
It has to
exactly.
be
Right.
all girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do. It's like separatism is a mean thing. You know, this organization started in 1907.
Yeah.
This is something that kept women and men very different,
Very
very separate for a very long time. So now we have a point in time where it's like, well, hey, let us all be inclusive and learn different types of things and skill sets that you may not learn in Girl Scouts and you may not learn in Boy Scouts that I think will be great for each gender to know about each side.
Yeah.
So that part for me, as far as the inclusion of it, I'm like, well, then go. If that's what it is.
That's what it
but
is.
because it's like, it just came out, the Girl Scouts spoke against it, and there's all these different things that are going on. I think once we truly know what the final, say is and why they're
what's the
doing it and what
point?
the
Yeah.
reason is, then I think we can all eloquently speak on it.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, if you want to include them, then yeah, let's do it.
so
Because
go
I think,
ahead.
one more thing, sorry.
No,
But I
please.
think what would be really good is little boys to see women or little girls in positions
In
of power.
position,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We have enough of that. We have sports. Like, so many different things are separate but equal, and I get that, and that's great. But because that continues to perpetuate in our society when it comes to work, when it comes to, jobs. We do the same job. Are you doing a job I'm doing? You get paid more because you're a man and I get paid less because I'm a woman. But things like that start way back then.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
those kind of organizations with keeping everything so different. You were growing up only knowing how to sew and knit, and
Right.
little boys
Yeah.
can do different things. Well, why can't we all do it all?
Right, because
Yeah.
there are some boys that
Right.
want to sew.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I was.
And I was a little girl that didn't want to sew because my pillow was always crooked, and I got made fun of that shit all the time.
And I used to hem the
believe
heck out of
I
some
do not find that
pillows.
hard to believe at all. At all.
But I think what if we just change it to Scouts of America? You know what I'm
Scouts of
saying?
America.
Like,
That's
because
beautiful.
my problem is if we're gonna keep it Boys Scouts of America and now you're including girls in it, it's like, okay, now I'm a part of this organization that still
You're
uses
still
the term
labeling
boys.
these things as male and
Power.
boys.
Yeah, so change it. Cub Scouts of America or Wolf Scouts, Eagle Scouts, like let's go that direction.
But what
Yeah,
about the? Sorry, you haven't said.
No,
that.
I was just gonna say, but I still felt like it should be separate. But what I was thinking was, I kind of go back to what Jesse said a little bit earlier about, there are certain things that everything doesn't have to be inclusive. I feel like you can still teach. Different groups, but maybe have it where all the curriculums across the board.
Like Girl Scouts
are
have
the
to go
same.
camping too
Yeah,
and learn
Girl
how
Scouts
to-
have to go
Perfect.
camping, and like you said, guys have to
Right.
go, sewing. But I think it gets a little complicated too because we are in a space where we're opening up a new, the trans portion of this, which was not there when this was started.
They did the
And how does that-
LGBT thing last year. They
Yeah,
went
they
through
started with
that
that
whole
first.
Yeah.
thing
Right.
and stance with it. So that's where this is kind of confusing to me in that sense of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just say as long as the curriculums are everybody's learning the same thing.
But
Don't
that's
make it separate that way.
so interesting that they're not all tied together.
They're not all
That
tied
is
together.
so.
Well, I guess because they kind of like franchises because you would have your scout leaders
That's
and they're
true,
not
yeah.
really answering
Exactly,
to like
exactly.
whoever. Because my scout leader was our auntie around the corner, and she definitely wasn't like on top of everything. So I guess that makes
Right.
sense, but. I don't know. I just still think about because they still know, like girls specifically, like it's scientifically proven that girls learn better younger separately from boys. So to me, that all made me start thinking about education and all kinds of other things. Like, is it really gonna be a better idea? And if you're right, like they have to say girls if they're using open the door for trans people because they can't just be like just the trans girl,
Right.
like whatever.
Right.
Because then we would all be like, that's
How do you
horrible.
Right. That would be-
You know
right.
how you identify. Exactly.
Right.
Fill in the circle.
Right.
But at the same time,
Right.
do we lose something by thinking that it should be inclusive as opposed to just inclusive curriculum. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, someone who didn't feel real inclusive this weekend was Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys saw the BET Hip Hop Awards, but first of all, shout out to Cardi B.
Yes,
Ow, 3 awards that night. Performance was off the chain. But who kind of stole the show was Eminem, Marshall Mathers. So every year they do a freestyle cypher, and Eminem came out with a lovely little battle. You know, he's always been known to, I mean, back in the day, he talked about President Bush, he's talked about pop stars. This is what Eminem does. He uses his platform to speak out, you know, and he's had, when he actually said it about Bush, what's it called, got involved and had to
Secret Service, because he said something to the extent.
Oh, right.
He didn't actually say kill Bush.
I mean, it was kind of like he should
sort of
die.
alluded to that.
Yeah, he sort of alluded to that.
But his latest freestyle, which he revealed on Twitter, is called The Storm. He basically came out to say, and any fan of mine who's a supporter of his, I'm drawing in the sand a line. You're either for or against, and if you can't decide who you like more and you're split on who you should stand beside, I'll do it for you with this. F you, he said, while raising his middle finger. Obviously, you know, the right side got real upset with that.
Just a little bit.
You know, just a little bit. And again, I just look at it, this is someone that we've been talking about doing this kind of stuff for years, and you know, to say that this is his artistry, and this is how he decides to choose to speak on the subject. I ain't mad at him. I mean, he didn't say he wanted him dead or anything. He just said "fuck you" to this man. You know what I mean? Support him.
I mean,
he has the right to say that, just like you have the right to vote for Donald Trump.
It's all about free speech.
It's free speech.
And I love how he's using his platform. I think, here's the thing. There's a huge disparity in America when it comes to black and white. We know that. There's no secret to that. It's been going on since forever, unfortunately. The beginning of America, right? We know that. But in order to evoke change, it's going to take more than just black and brown people saying we want change. Black and brown people saying Black Lives Matter. Black and brown people saying, you know, no justice, no peace. It's going to take more than just that ethnicity, those ethnicities to work, right? We need Caucasians, we need insert, you know, ethnicity here. We need more of that. And so the fact that he is a rapper and he is using his platform and he is Caucasian helps, I think, in that sense. Now, people may not have to necessarily agree with what he's saying, but I do like that he's saying, America, stand up. Because in that instance, it's like, that's what we need. Colin took a knee, did not say a word. Eminem came out and had a 4-minute plus, you know, like, thank you.
Howitzer,
you know what I mean?
he shot him
and
down.
Has Donald Trump even...
He said nothing.
That's what I was going to say. He hasn't said one word. He hasn't said one word.
He ain't tweeted.
Nothing.
Because if he did,
Nothing.
the next track Eminem would release is called Dump Trump.
Right,
Like,
totally.
Man.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, I'm glad he got a lot of support in just the hip hop community too. You know, Diddy, T-Pain, J. Cole, even Ellen DeGeneres were all tweeting about this too and talking about how powerful it was with what he did and how they supported it. So you know, I agree with you.
There was no music.
Yeah, there's no music.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It takes more
time and did
races to actually come together for people to pay attention. It's like when we had Black Lives Matter and you saw the white faces supporting it, it got even more attention.
oh, and
that's just
it
the way
makes some
is.
people so mad
And it
because
makes them mad.
because it proves the point where they go out where there's this group that just says, oh, you know, the blacks, they're so mad. No, they aren't. We're mad. We're all upset. Sorry, you're over there. You're mad.
You're on the wrong
We're
side.
mad. Let's come together so we can stop being mad. Wake up. Be adults. Thank you.
Go ahead. Be humble.
All right.
Sit
And
down.
scene.
Speaking of somebody that stood up.
All right, well, y'all, there's a dope movie coming out on October 13th. Chadwick Boseman, Josh Gad, Kate Hudson, Dan Stevens, Sterling K. Brown, and James Cromwell star in Marshall. It's based on a true story. Before he became the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall was a man on a mission. Critics rave Marshall is sensational, powerful, outstanding, and one of the best movies of the year. Discover the one motion picture event that will inspire and have you cheering Marshall in theaters October October 13th, rated PG-13, and may be inappropriate for children under 13.
I can't wait to see
Go
it.
check it out
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I mean,
Okay.
and you know, we were saying this last week, but this is Chadwick's year. I mean, he's killing it. Black Panther, he's got coming out, beginning of next year. He's got this. And this film in particular, I think it's just a lot of people will get to, from what I understand, are really going to get to know who he is, you know. And we obviously have learned through history and through reading certain things, but there's a lot of younger people who don't know who he is and what he's really stood for. So that's why this film is going to be super important.
Yeah.
And you know,
Because we
Chadwick
all
is
know,
Sterling.
like, he was the first Black Supreme Court justice. Okay, but
Right.
what else? Like,
What
that,
else?
there was a
What does that
major
mean?
journey
Yeah.
that happened to
And
get
I think
there.
the movie focuses in on just one particular case.
Yeah,
right?
and
So-
like his experience,
The
sort of leading
pre-experience,
up
yeah.
to all of before Brown versus Board of Education and all that. So I'm excited.
Go
I
see
think
it.
Chadwick Boseman
Support
is
it.
an amazing actor, so I'm like you. I can't wait to see it.
Can't wait to
For
see
real.
it. Support.
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 All right. Well,
right.
speaking of things we want to see, one thing I didn't want to see was the end of Being Mary Jane, but apparently BET has decided it is time that Being Mary Jane gets cut loose. But before they completely cut us loose, they're going to give us a 2-hour movie to end it for us all. And for those of you that don't know, it's sort of like a full circle moment because the show started as a film on BET, 2-hour films. Mara Brock Akil and Salim Akil wrote the movie, did the series, then they left the series, and then there was some drama in the middle because of this 4th season of shooting with Gabrielle, but she came back. They did this new season with new producers, and it went pretty well. I don't know how many people you guys like tuned in. The numbers went down a little bit for this last season, but it was still great, and we still love Mary Jane and all the characters that came along with it. And so they're gonna give us a movie next year. We don't know when yet. We don't know who's gonna be in it. We don't know if they're gonna bring the whole family back. We don't know anything, but we do know that it's time to end the era, but they're going to give us a movie, and we at least appreciate that, unlike what they did with Girlfriends when they just snatched it off the air and we never
Like
saw
that.
it.
We never,
Like
we
that.
never got the
Just
movie.
snatched it off
Never
and never
got the
gave
movie.
us anything
No.
for
That hurt
it.
my heart
So
too. I'm with you. That hurt my heart.
that really hurt my heart. So I was so glad when I read, because at first all I saw was Being Mary Jane canceled. I'm like, y'all are not going to leave us hanging like that. Like, we don't know if she going to end up with the green-eyed man, if she going to
Right.
run off, if she done messed up. Like, we don't know. So I'm glad they're going to give us a movie. They didn't even say, excuse me, who's doing it. So I don't know if it's still Will Packer and those who took over
Right.
after Salim and Mara, or if Mara and Salim will come back and do the movie or what. So
And they
We'll find
probably
out.
could kind of do like they did Sex and the City. They could
That's
make
exactly
it
right.
several movies. You know what I mean? I was surprised to see it was leaving though. You know, I was a little surprised by that.
I mean, I didn't want to see it go, but you know, when you feel like something was real just great, like those first 2-3 seasons, you're like, this is just great. But then the shift of the guard, like, it just happens because it's new creatives. Like, it's not that it was bad, it just wasn't what it was. So I
Right.
kind of like that they're leaving at a time where it wasn't bad. Like, it was still doing well.
Go out on a
They're
high
going
note.
out on a high note.
Quality, yeah, go out on top. And just so you guys know, BET also has another awesome show that's about to start tonight, and I want everybody to watch it because my Northwestern alumni Robin Thede's new show, The Rundown with Robin Thede, is on tonight. First late night talk show, or the only late night talk show right now with a Black female host.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's on tonight, 11 o'clock. BET. BET continues to like do fun stuff.
They're,
and
power.
amazing
listen,
stuff.
they're
Yeah,
trying.
love
They're
it.
trying. Original content.
All right, so that's the positive for the week. We're gonna move into something that was less, well, I guess this is still kind of positive because Terry Crews has sort of stepped up. We will talk further about the crazy hot messery of sexual harassment and etc. going on in the business right now. But there's men been stepping up beside the women that are stepping up and bringing people to task for the things that they've been doing. And Terry Crews is one of those people. And he came out on Twitter with a 16 tweeted, what do you call them? 16 tweet? Because I'm like,
Right.
16 tweet where he was explaining how he has experienced sexual harassment in this business by a top Hollywood executive at a party, man, just bold as hell.
In front of his wife and
In
everything.
front of his wife, just grabbed his stuff and looked at him all nasty and smiled and giggled like there was nothing wrong with it. And Terry was like, I had a moment where I was gonna beat his ass, but then I knew I couldn't do that because a 240-pound black man, all that's gonna happen is I'm gonna end up in jail and the headline's gonna be big ass black man beat down a little, Hollywood honcho.
Right.
And he was just sort of doing it to say like, there are victims everywhere, and I didn't say anything, and I was kind of, quieted by it and just tried not to make it a big deal afterwards. The guy did apologize to him later, but never said why he did it. And Terry said he let it go because he didn't want to be ostracized. So he empathized with all the women that, had not come forward for reasons, all of their reasons being, career issues and not wanting to be ostracized or blackballed and anything like that. And so he spoke up, and people were shocked, like, yo, Terry Crews, you gonna grab Terry Crews stuff? And like, you got some balls to be doing that.
Literally.
Because his wife looked like he could beat you. She could beat
I would
you.
be scared of that. Yeah. Like she would take it back. Will you touch my man?
She looked like she don't play.
Yeah. So
She probably would have beat him down.
Right.
He was like, wait, honey, no,
Right.
don't do this.
shout out to them for having the wherewithal to not snap, because I don't know that I'm that strong.
I mean, you're probably in disbelief at that too.
You
It's like, wait,
would be.
did this just
Really
happen?
just happened
Wait,
to me?
for real?
But the
Wait.
way he described it with the dude had a shitty grin on his face, just like an asshole. Like, and I feel like that's the moment. Like initially you might have been shocked, but when he was just grinning like he didn't do nothing wrong, knowing what he just did, like I feel like I might have like saw black and just blacked out.
Literally.
Like,
Right.
lost my mind. Like, but
Well, I
whatever.
really appreciate him stepping up. He and James
Vanderbeek,
actually
yeah.
spoke about it,
did
yeah.
it
Yeah.
because I think it lets men know if that happens to you, still come out and speak on it as
Yeah.
well. I do think or wish that he and James would have at least said who they were, so
Yeah.
that, we can move forward with that. But assault is assault on
Yeah.
females, on men. Sexual assault is not right, and
You
I
ain't
know we all
supposed to
agree
touch
with that. But
nobody.
don't touch nobody if you don't
Thank
have
you.
permission. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And it's
Especially at a
okay.
Hollywood party, going grabbing his stuff.
And it's okay to
Like,
talk
what?
about, because when you talk about it, other victims who are scared to talk about it, it makes them
Absolutely.
feel
Yes.
more comfortable to be able to,
Absolutely.
share with somebody. And that's very important to share that and get that out of you and not suppress that inside.
I mean, it's true, but
Agreed.
it's got to be real tough, though. I mean, you're thinking about, we're going to move on to the Harvey Weinstein story
Yeah.
with this, but if you, clearly have not been watching the news, this is one of the top stories that are out right now. Head entertainment mogul Harvey Weinstein, who is co-president or co-founder of the Weinstein Group, has been under a lot of scrutiny because the New York Times published a report last week about women who were coming forward to speak about sexual harassment from Harvey Weinstein. And it is now, the current count is I think around 29 people. And it really got a lot of PR once some of the top actresses like Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelina Jolie, Ashley Judd, all the way down to Cara Delevingne, supermodel Cara Delevingne, talking about their encounters with Harvey Weinstein. And they all had very similar stories in a lot of ways when you started reading kind of what they were saying. It initially mostly started with him inviting them to his private room. He was in a bathrobe. He either wanted a massage or wanted to, have them see him naked or, kind of both, a combination. And, this has kind of turned the entertainment world around because a lot of people are having this conversation about the women that are coming out, and even people have been comparing it to Bill Cosby, which I think is similar but yet very different in certain ways. But we'll get into that, just an opinion about that. But this is really, a lot of people are just like, this has gone on. I mean, this guy is rumored to have done this for years and years, and he has so much power that people were afraid to say things. And what do you guys think about this story coming to light and the reaction of just, there's so many male stars like George Clooney and Brad Pitt and several more that are really disgusted by this act that has happened to Harvey and said that they should have spoken out. George said he even knew, I think, a little bit of the
Yes,
rumors.
Brad Pitt confronted him 20 years ago about it. Like,
Right.
and I'm trying to be positive. Like, yes, it's come to light and all this expose and blah, 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 and all these people are like, oh, how could he? And blah. They knew.
Yeah.
They knew. Like, they knew. Everybody knows they knew because I'm not even like, I'm at BHL. I'm hanging out over here at After, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not like up in the Weinstein group at these times. I knew stories about that from just being around
Right.
the industry. You know what I'm saying? So this idea that like, suddenly, and then the other news that just came out that we were talking about
Right.
earlier from TMZ is that TMZ was breaking a story today while they were filming their show, and Harvey was like, "Oh, I got this big story that's coming. It's huge, blah blah." And it seems like the story is that they've gotten his employment contract with the Weinstein Company, and basically he's been illegally fired because it was illegal in his contract. He could sexually harass chicks and be sued for it and couldn't get fired as long as he reimbursed the company for whatever
all
kind
the
of
lawsuits,
settlement
yeah.
would come out of it.
Yeah.
So don't bullshit me and
Right.
pretend like, oh, we had no, like, yeah, he was doing something. No, you knew exactly what was going on. All of you knew exactly what was going on, including those actresses that are now saying something. And I get like, you don't want to risk yourself, but in the end, that's what it's about. Like everybody that was involved and knew about or knew something to a degree, decided that their self was more important than what was happening, and that their desire to get ahead or their desire to keep working in film, like don't get me wrong, we all want careers and you have to make that choice for yourself, and I'm not passing judgment on it. All I'm saying is that to try to pretend like you're so disturbed at this point, like, oh my God, and how could he, and we didn't know, and you knew, you decided that what was more important was you wanted to get your movies made, or you wanted to be able to star in those movies, and that's why you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you either chose, yourself and your career, or you choose yourself and your integrity. And I'm sorry, you didn't choose yourself and your integrity.
Right.
And it's okay that you are allowed to make that choice. You are totally allowed to make that choice. And I want to make sure that I'm saying, because I'm not blaming no victims, I'm not doing any of that, but your desire to get ahead in whatever industry you are informed why you chose not to say anything. And that includes the people that weren't doing it, the people that weren't victims, the people that were working there and continue to work there because they wanted to keep a job and you had a family, and people will be like, oh, that's easy to like, Shay, oh, I didn't want to. No, it's not easy. It sucks to be like, you know what? There's a story that a lot of the female executives knew because they would set up meetings and they would be the guys for the meeting. He would have them in the meeting and then ask them to leave, and they knew what was going to happen. But you continued to work there.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I would have. The Weinstein company is huge. It's amazing. Like the career opportunities abound. But you chose to be a part of that every single time you did it. And to pretend like that's not the case, I think it's a joke for all of us. And that's why it'll never change, because we've chosen money and getting our movies made and getting our careers made over being human and caring about what the fuck is happening to people.
And then what makes it even worse for Harvey Weinstein is that a lot of the actresses were saying this happened when they were younger in their career.
That was his MO.
That was his MO. He wants the girls young, so he's catching them at a time where, they want exactly what you said. They're choosing their career. They're like, oh, this is what I have to do. It's all the casting couch, and you're with the biggest guy in the industry. You know what I mean? Doing it. And it's unfortunate because the mindset of these young women at this time, for them, who knows what they're going through and what they had to go through even afterwards to not speak up. And so I'm just happy now that they are. I agree with you 1,000% with everything that you're saying, but I'm still happy that they're now speaking up. So hopefully, moving forward, all the other Harvey Weinsteins out there will think twice about continuing to doing what they're probably already doing or won't do. You know what I mean? Like, that would be my
Well, I think
hope
with
is
this whole
that it will
contract
change.
thing, though, is going to get very interesting to see how this is going to play out. Because yesterday, he's 65. His wife has made a statement that she's leaving him. Georgina Chapman, who's a fashion designer, and she was supporting him at first until this last couple of days.
She had some meetings with some PR people over the weekend, and they were like, "Girl,
that's an audio recording."
That was a bad move to support him.
Get out, girl. Get out.
They were like, so now the number's 29.
Right.
You still want to say?
Right.
It's 29? Yeah, let me go.
Let me get out of here. I can't even justify that. Yeah,
I'm sorry, that's
can't
me.
justify that.
I do sympathize, girl. You got kids, and I understand. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but it was funny.
But also it was sort of funny. If you look at her statement, it talks about, I made the tough decision to leave my husband, but then it goes into about her business.
She's like, please don't hold me responsible.
Right, don't hold me responsible. I was like, she was
like,
about that check too. She was like, I'm keeping this check going.
Well, why do you think
she
said? Imagine what she knows.
Right.
That was probably what the publicist said. That was like the statement, and then she was like, "But make sure you put my business
right there, girl.
Right.
Make sure you let them know."
Let them know. But I mean, he had like a suicide watch yesterday, allegedly, after having an argument with his daughter. The TMZ reported, and now he's allegedly gone to treatment. So
can y'all come on, y'all?
Yeah.
Somebody explain the
That's
sex
called
therapy
PR.
Because I'm just like, I don't think he's a sex addict per se, and that's if you believe in sex addiction. He's a predator.
He's a predator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a predator.
This is beyond sex addict.
Right.
This is a predator.
So they got therapy for that in Europe?
No,
I mean,
but that's what his.
he's probably
But he's not in Europe. He's in.
Well, he's in Arizona, but he was supposed to be going to
Arizona.
Europe, and they were saying it was a special
Right.
therapy.
Girl, they were just trying to
and
get
then
him out the country.
They were talking to Dr. Drew, and Dr. Drew was like, I don't know where that is, but.
Well, the fact that he's saying that all the women were consensual, that's a whole other thing too, because that's what he's
saying that,
living
but
by
there has been like 3 reports since that there was
there's
some
rapes,
Right.
rapes and oral sex rapes as well. So it's.
I mean, once you get it on audio, it's like, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
How many more times do you want us to send a check in and prove you wrong?
Well,
And then we had Donald Trump on a lot of different audio
And did
things.
nobody
We
care
did.
about that?
Nobody cared.
Just a
Right.
thought.
Nobody cared.
But then
It's
here
the
we are
locker room
crucifying Bill
talk.
Cosby.
Well, see, that's where I was
and
gonna
we
go.
know why.
I was
Let's
gonna
go.
go. I was
Let's
like,
go.
listen,
I'm
look, we
ready.
only got a few minutes. I'm only gonna do this for one because I want to
Okay.
get her questions in. But the treatment of when they're comparing it to Bill Cosby, I'm like, Bill was slandered. I haven't seen Harvey slandered yet. Maybe let me give him a little time. Maybe
Right, because it is kind of
still
new.
early. But I still say, because Bill Cosby was a black man, he was treated differently in that case than what will
Agreed.
happen with Harvey Weinstein, and even the way that Harvey's even being talked about in media. Bill was like, they threw him under.
They weren't trying to
real
send
quick.
Bill to
They weren't trying to send Bill to
They didn't say
therapy.
you can go
They
to
didn't give him no
Paris.
time to put his statements together. It's a totally different game for Harvey Weinstein, and it's unfair, and I hate to say it, but a lot of
And
the
Trump
fact
too.
that he's so cocky and arrogant to
Right.
think to put in his contract that you can do something like this. There's no comparison to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby wouldn't have been able to do that. No,
absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? So there is it. Yes, they're both sick people,
Y'all all
but
nasty.
they're just it's a
Y'all
different
nasty.
a different
Y'all
game.
Nasty.
It's just nasty.
Terrible.
Right.
All right. Well,
take you to say
we'll
nasty.
continue.
Y'all
Right.
nasty.
We'll continue to give you the updates on that story because I know it's going to get real messy in the next couple
Yeah,
weeks.
if he sues them,
Oh,
if he
that
sues
will
his
be.
company
That
for
part.
illegal,
For firing him
firing
illegally?
him illegally,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. I'm probably gonna fall out. Like
Yeah.
that's just legit.
I mean,
That's
but
it.
it would not surprise me.
go ahead.
It will not surprise me. All right, so we're going to talk about something positive. We're not going to go into our last story. We're going to go right into Miss Taja right here. Who's got
Yes.
her new movie, Madea Boo 2, coming
Boo
out.
2, October 20th, next Friday.
We got a little clip that we're going to play real
Perfect.
quick, just like give people a little tease on what to expect with
Get
the
you
movie.
excited.
On October 20th,
There's a party at Lake Derrick.
Are you crazy? People died up there. He been drinking that bayou.
what is booze?
Bitch juice.
The fear is real.
You are not gonna kill.
The terror is real.
Please, you have to let me in.
Baby, ain't no room. We already done spread out.
Is real.
They got you down for criminal trespass.
Attempted murder.
Me, bam! Hi, officer!
Boo 2 opens to Halloween, rated PG-13 in theaters October 20th.
October 20th, we're going to see you. You play a character, Deborah
Deborah,
Simmons.
yes. I play Tyler Perry's ex-wife. We have 2 children together, and I am the fun and sassy wife, or ex-wife, I should say, mother. I'm the one that feels like my daughter should be able to experience life to make all the bad decisions on her own versus telling her no.
Get a little spicy up in there.
You guys are quiet, like, do that kind of
Because
mama.
I'm like,
That mama,
I get the
huh?
rolled eyes. You heard.
And then after they go experience some of these
millennial babies.
ghostly
Exactly.
things, you gonna change your mind?
You have to watch the movie and see. I can't give it all the way.
What is something? So, what would you say is the difference between this movie and the first one? Like, what can fans kind of expect more with that as well?
So I would say more humor, more comedy. I would say Tyler Perry is amazing at 3 characters that he does. So he just expounded on the story a bit. You know, in the first one, it was a different type of Halloween movie and scenario. Now it's like they're going to Lake Derrick, and we know in the film that Lake Derrick is a place that you're not supposed to go. A lot of kids were killed there. This is not where you're supposed to be. But I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's nothing. You know.
It's like Crystal Lake.
The kids will be fine. It's like Crystal
Crystal
Lake. Yeah.
Lake.
The kids will be great. It'll be fine. Whatever. So I'm the one that really takes up for her and allows her to get into things she should not be into, and then maybe things change in me at the end. Whatever.
All right.
And then you work closely with Tyler Perry, obviously. What is something that you learned from working with him that you took away from the film?
You know, I didn't know that Tyler Perry was as brilliant as he is. Like, we know him as a writer, a director, an actor, and a producer, but that's a lot of hats, but he does them all very well, which I think is why he's so successful at what he does. But being on stage, being on set, and having him be in the Brian character, and he has his doubles as Madea, and then his other double as Joe, and he's in a scene with 3 of himself. Yes. So all of them are doing different ad-libs, and he's remembering all the ad-libs when he gets back into another character, and then he's going back and forth, and then at the same time, he's, as Madea, speaking as Tyler Perry, so he's dressed as Madea, like, cut. And you're like, whoa,
You're like, wait,
that was weird. Okay. And then he's, and he's very structured. He knows exactly what he wants as a director. We shoot really fast. This entire film was done in like a week.
Oh my
God. Tyler Perry moves
A
really
week?
quickly. You have to be
What?
ready. You have to be ready.
You better make sure you know your lines for real.
my
Absolutely. They prep you
God.
before you go, but that's just a BHL exclusive.
Okay.
They prep you before you go, and they let you know, hey, he moves really fast. You may think it's a rehearsal, but the cameras are always rolling, and there's 3 at all times.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's good.
That's intense.
He's good. Yeah.
That's how you can get so much stuff out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Did you audition to get the part? Like, how did that process work?
I did actually. So interesting story. You guys are getting all the exclusives. So interesting story is that I auditioned for Tyler Perry like 7 times prior to booking this role. But 7 is the number of completion, 8 is the number of new beginnings. So this was the one that was meant for me. Amen. So it was from different TV shows to movies that he had coming out, and I've been to producer sessions. I've met him twice. I've been on hold. Just didn't book the job. This time I did, and yeah, I went through the normal process. I went to casting. I, put myself on tape. She sent it in, and they were like, "Okay, you're the choice." I was the only one they sent to Tyler Perry to wait his approval.
Wow.
I got his approval, and then 2 days later, I was in Atlanta.
Amazing.
Wow.
So you never had to read for him in person or anything?
No.
You just
I think at this point they had already known my work, and so when I got
Yeah.
there, Mark Swinton, the executive producer, was like, "I've seen all your work. I think you're fantastic. We've been waiting for the right role that's perfect for you, and we think Deborah is it."
Awesome.
And I was like, "Well, yes,
Wow. That's
thank
a
you.
nice
Here I am."
introduction.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
Right.
and that's when he was like, "So be ready. Yeah, I know you've done a soap. It's like a soap. Like, you gotta know all your lines and be ready because he moves quick." And I'm like, "Okay, no pressure, but be great."
Right. And smile.
Okay, great.
And I'm playing the wife.
Right, and I'm playing your wife, ex-wife.
And you've been working in this industry for a while, and we've come off this year of successful TV shows being more honored with African American characters. Do you see that there are a lot more opportunities now that have been created in Hollywood for African American characters, and do you think that that's going to continue to grow?
Absolutely. I would say specifically with women, with female characters, like we know with Taraji, with Gabrielle Union, with Viola, with Kerry Washington, and all of their respective shows. There's so much opportunity for Black women, which is absolutely amazing. However, I would like to see Black women or couples in roles that are more positive, like when we used to watch the WB or UPN, and it was The Cosby Show, and it was Family Matters, and it was all these shows that dealt with moral values. I feel like because we've gotten away from that so much, we see a lot of things that are, dare I say, ratchet on television that deals with people of color, and I can't say dare I say, it's true. It's fact. It is what it is.
Probably a strong 60% of
60% of what
TV
we have
right
on
now.
television. So I am excited to know that these women have paved the way for myself and other women that are with me and behind me in this industry. But at the same time, I do look forward to seeing more positive roles for Black women, especially on television as well.
It's so true because there's all those women you said, all their roles are singular.
Yeah.
It's not like
They're not in a
Taraji's
healthy
character is
relationship.
the ex
that went
woman
to jail
Right.
for selling drugs for her man. Like, yeah.
Instead of
It's like
seeing
they
that
can't be
power
great,
yes.
they can't be a powerful woman and have a great life
Yep.
with a husband and family and stuff like that. They're the mistresses and things like that.
That's true.
And don't get me wrong, it's still great television, and I think the women in those roles are doing a phenomenal job in it because it's still paving a way. But I'm
diverse.
excited about to see the diversity, not just with women in the roles, but also the type of characters that we allow to be on television for Black women.
Bring back moral values.
Moral values.
More values. And we're going to get out of here real soon, but you also have a book that's coming out.
I do.
And tell us about it. I know I've
Yes,
read a little
absolutely.
bit
So
about it,
I'm really excited about my book. It's myself and my business partner, her name is Sabrina Revelle. We both are actors in our own rights, and we wanted to do a book about how to get started in acting. And I know for myself, she came to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to write this book together?" And I was like, "Yes, I've been thinking about this for a long time," because when I was on Bold and the Beautiful or on Grey's or NCIS or whatever the TV show is, I always get my influx of emails from people in my Facebook saying, "Hey, my brother, sister, cousin, nephew, daughter, you know what I mean?
Right.
We want to get into acting. What do we do?" And I found myself writing these long emails, and so then I would just let me go back to that when I sent yesterday, copy and paste. And then it was so much information that I did not know when I moved here. So this is the way that she and I are kind of giving back, like, hey, we put everything that you will need to know in this book. And all you got to do is just get the book. The book's coming out early in next year. You guys can actually go to my website at tajavsimpson.com, and you can subscribe there, and we will send you more information when it's ready. We'll be doing pre-sales at the end of this month, actually, for the book. So I'm just really excited. It's going to really help people in a grandiose way on what to do and how to get started in this business.
I love that. Giving back.
Yeah.
Giving back. And where can fans find you on all your social media outlets outside of just that
Perfect.
place?
So all my social media, I should say all but one. So Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, is all Taja V. Simpson, so T-A-J-A-V Simpson. I'm sure you guys will have it up, but I got to spell my name. And Facebook is the Taja V. Simpson.
All right.
Because there's only one, right?
Okay.
Only one.
There can
Only one.
There can only be one.
Courtney?
Well,
AKA?
there's a whole lot of Courtney Stewart, so I'm not there. I am on Twitters and the Instagrams and all that at Stewart Starlet.
Boom, everywhere DJ Jesse J.
You can find me at Derrial Christon on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook with my name spelled. And find me on the Reels channel show Broke and Famous. I'll be doing some commentary work on that show for the next couple weeks. So. And other than that, we'll see you guys on the next week's show.
On the next week.
Or well, I guess next week. This week, next week. Y'all
figure that
What
out.
they
Y'all
said.
figure that out. It's a Jedi mind trick.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Derrial Christon, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
No, I was excited you guys sent.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.